World Soldier here, and I am back to talk about Star Wars Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 8, and my thoughts on this episode. Amazing! I love this episode. Finally! Finally, we're getting great episodes. Not just boring or okay episodes. We just got an amazing episode. And I think that's to do with bringing the Empire back into the show. I mean, why the hell do we have to have these stories that keep pushing the Empire to the sidelines? We don't want that. Make the Empire the centre of the story. God, this was such a great episode. And I was not expecting the ending or the Easter egg for Star Wars game fans at the end of that. Oh, it was just so fucking great. I have no problems with this episode. Every bit of this episode was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Because, there was a part of me that felt that we were going to get some woke crap, or it was just going to be another boring or just pointless episode. No, this episode was amazing. I mean, I loved the storyline of it. I loved the ending. And the returning character was the right character to bring. Not a boring character or two characters that should be forgotten, but a character that everybody loved. I am so happy with this episode. I cannot believe it. It nearly makes up for a lot of what Star Wars has done. Well, actually no. But you know what I mean? It's finally good to watch a Star Wars episode and want to watch it again. I want to watch this again. That's how good it is. Because, I haven't watched any of the episodes twice. I've only watched them once. This episode, I'm definitely going back to watch again. It was just so good to watch. But that's my non-spoiler review. But I'm going to go into spoilers now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's get the spoilers. Cad Bane's back. That is the character you're supposed to bring. The best bounty hunter, in my opinion, in Star Wars. The one who took on fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi with a lightsaber. The fucking bounty hunter who took over the Senate. I mean, come on. Why the hell has this show not brought in more great characters like Cad Bane? Like, earlier. Why are you bringing in shit characters like the fucking sisters? This is what you want to see from the Bad Batch. The Clone Wars characters. The ones we loved. But it's so good to see Cad Bane. But anyway, so this episode starts off with us on Kamino and the new Imperial person in charge talking to the Prime Minister of Kamino. And the Empire are definitely taking more and more control of Kamino. I've said Kamino like 100 times. I don't know why. And the Kaminoans, they are definitely planning an uprising. There is no way they're not. Because there's two scenes in this episode that show the Kaminos have been preparing for this sort of situation. And it has to be the Kamino uprising. There's just no other thing that can explain what they're doing. Now, I don't know what Alpha is. Not Alpha. Sorry, Omega. I don't know what they want with her. I still think she's Force sensitive, but apparently she's key to their plans. And I think the Kaminoans are the ones who paid for the bounty hunters. Because, I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense if you kind of think they did send her away. But in another way, it kind of does. To get Omega away from Kamino for a bit, then they need to bring her back for something. I don't know what it is, but yes, Omega is definitely key to the Kamino's plans. And listen, the story was great in this episode. I have faith that this is not a Mary Sue situation, so I'm very happy with that. But yes, I definitely believe it is the Kamino uprising that's going to be at the end of this series. And I cannot wait for it. But anyway, Crosshair tells the Imperial in charge that they found a Bad Batch, that they're on Brecker, and the Imperial doesn't seem to give a damn about it, but he just says send a squad and kill them. And, well, Crosshair heads off and takes a lot of clones with him to to kill the Bad Batch. I would have liked a little bit more of the Imperial, I'm not sure why he's just so not bothered with the Bad Batch. I mean, the Bad Batch are a special unit. You'd really want to make sure they don't, screw you over in other places, like help rebellions that are apparently starting up. Like, if you have been the traitors to the Empire, and even Tarkin sent troops after them, it's like, why are you so flippant about this? I don't understand why. I don't understand what that's about. I mean, maybe the Imperial is more focused on trying to take full control of Kamino. Again, that's what I think's happening. I think the Empire is more concerned with taking control of a big danger to the Empire, which is Kamino and the Clone Army. But anyway, Crosshair heads off to go capture the Bad Batch. Back on Brekka with the Bad Batch. Bad Batch, Wrecker is teaching Omega how to disable bombs, bomb disposal. And a part of me did think Omega was going to do it on the first try and fix the bomb, but nope. Again, this series isn't going fully woke. It's not. Omega fails, and it's a big joke. And, Wrecker, explains to her, listen, nobody does it on their first time. And I like that. I like the fact that they're teaching Omega all this stuff, and it's not, they're teaching her. They're not just letting Omega do things on her own. They're making her learn. And the characters are all involved with that. And that's great. That's why I'm not so, running to the word Mary Sue that I'm calling Omega. Okay? I'm not calling her Mary Sue. They're doing it right this time. They're not doing a Rey, which is making her grey at everything for no reason. Anyway, we get a scene between Echo and Hunter. And Hunter, asks about the ship because they need to, what Hunter's figured out is if the ship still got weapons and equipment on it, they could sell it and make money and be able to survive outside the Empire. Which is pretty normal in military terms of equipment being left behind because, again, Britain and America are leaving weapons behind in Afghanistan because, again, it's cheaper to make new weapons than it is to bring weapons back most of the time. So it makes a lot of sense the Empire would be the same. They would just abandon ships with weapons still on them because, again, it's cheaper to make weapons. And in this show, they've pretty much shown the Empire does think about the financial benefits of certain things. Which, again, props to the show for that. So they head down to the armory of the Venator. Tech manages to restart the ship's power source, and all the lights come back on. They've managed to find the armory. It's fully stocked, and they find a lot of proton torpedoes. Once they've gathered up all the equipment, they start to head off. Omega heads to the bridge to help Tech up there. When she makes it up there, she asks about the war, and Tech kind of explains to her the war is just a mission, that's about it. Then at that same point, an alarm goes off to warn the Bad Batch that the Empire is coming to get them. Crosshair lands on the Venator with a hell of a lot of clone troopers and tells them to capture the Bad Batch ship. Now, I did say at the beginning that there's no mistakes in this show, but I don't think this is like this show's fault because this is like a ongoing problem with a lot of Star Wars stuff. Like, they capture the ship, but they don't disable it. They don't destroy the engines. They don't do nothing to the ship. They just leave it as it is. Just guard it. Like, why would you do that? Like, you're the Empire. You don't need the Bad Batch's ship. Just fire a missile at it or something. So, again, it's not a massive problem, but it does annoy me that the easiest thing for the Empire to do here would be to destroy the ship, because then the Bad Batch is stranded. But there you go. So the Bad Batch are going through the Venator trying to hide from the Empire so they can find an escape route out of the Venator to their ship. Tech manages to hack into the Imperial's communications and finds out that Crosshair is planning to ambush them in the hangar bay, which is where they were heading to escape the ship. But I think everybody knew that it was obviously a trap, what they were setting up here, because obviously Crosshair is going to know Tech was going to, crack their communications. So they head off to the cannons part of the ship to try that way to escape, but Crosshair's waiting there with a bunch of clone troopers and the, what you call them, like human troopers. But Tech manages to figure out that they can fire the cannons of the ship to just bring down the entire place around the clones to escape them. Hunter tries to reason with Crosshair so he can save his team, but I think Hunter truly believes that he can get through to Crosshair, but unfortunately it doesn't work, because Hunter then tells the clones to aim for Omega, because Omega tries to also she tries to turn Crosshair back to the good side, but it doesn't work, and pretty much Tech's plan works. They fire the cannons, the place comes down, most of the clones get killed, and Crosshair gets knocked out as well. They all get out of the cannon room. There is this funny bit when Wrecker takes a proton torpedo and throws it at one of the new clone troopers, which was pretty funny in my opinion. And they head to the engines to escape that way. When they do, they get there and they climb down and try to get through the back end of the ship. Crosshair wakes up, tells the clones to bring him a ship to cut off the Bad Batch's escape. Tells one of the new clones to head up to the engine room and he'll give them orders. When the Bad Batch get to the end of the engines, Crosshair's there waiting and fires a couple of shots. They see they're stuck in the engine, but what they're going to try to do is double back into the ship to try and find another escape route. But Crosshair tells the clone on the bridge to activate the engines, and the Bad Batch are then in a very bad position because they can't escape because the clones will shoot them. If they stay in the engine, they'll be evaporated by the engines. So Hunter comes up with the plan with using the detonators that they have with them, which Wrecker's been carrying, to blow up the half of the engine, or to blow the engine apart so it falls straight down, and that's their escape route out of the situation they're in. So they manage to do that. They blow up the engines. The engine then falls apart. The part then drops down, and then we see a bit when the engines are at full power and it burns Crosshair. And I thought it was a great scene to see Crosshair getting the burn marks and trying to hide from the blast, and him telling his trooper on the bridge to turn off the engines. Most of the clones with him are dead as well because the fire just wipes them all out like immediately, which was an epic scene, I gotta admit. I mean, I liked how, tight the scene was, and the artist work was great. But that's just me. Once the Bad Batch have stopped rolling around in the engines, Hunter tries to get Omega back to the ship. But when he gets back to the ship, Cad Bane is waiting for them, which just amazing to see him back. I mean, completely amazing. And Cad Bane just explains to Hunter that, listen, he's taken out loads of clones, and once you've taken out one clone, you could take out all the rest, because you're all the same. And him and Hunter square off against each other. And we do get this kind of similar scene from like A New Hope with Han and... oh my god, I forgot his name. Well, Han and the alien guy who shot first. And Cad Bane shoots Hunter and then stuns Omega and takes Omega with him to, I think, the Caminos. The Chameleons, not Caminos. Then we get this another amazing scene with, and this is what I'm saying by the Star Wars game Easter egg, where you see through Hunter's visor. I think it's Hunter's visor, and it's the same one the Commandos use in Republic Commando. I thought that was an amazing scene. That was. It was amazing. And then the episode ends with Hunter telling the Bad Batch they need to go after Omega. So, and that's the end of the episode. This is an amazing episode. I can't believe how much I enjoyed it. Please keep giving us these types of episodes. This is what we want. To be entertained, not bored, senseless. I love that scene at the end with the Commando visor. That was great to put in. I would love an episode with just that sort of vision. An episode like that would actually be pretty cool to me. It'd be like playing the game again. I wish they'd actually put a second Republic Commando out. But that's just me. But yeah, I loved Cad Bane coming back and being his usual self. You know, tough guy, confident as fuck. That's so amazing. God, why can't they do this with every episode? I mean, I don't think it's impossible to do that. I'm not saying you need to bring in a new character in every episode. I'm just saying, make the episode epic. Make it enjoyable. Don't make it just boring with just clones talking with each other. I mean, you can have scenes like that, but I want to be able to see a couple of fight scenes as well. But that's just me. This episode was amazing. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it. It's great. This is why I love Star Wars. Episodes like this. Fun, exciting, sometimes unexpected. Because I didn't think they were going to take Omega. I didn't think that would ever happen. But they finally did it. And I couldn't be more happier. And that's the end of my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike. And do think about subscribing if you like my content. Hail the Phantom Menace, long live CG, and fuck SJWs. Bye.